Good afternoon, YouTube. Well, as you know, I like buying stuff online when I'm here for my bike and things. I'll just show you now. Bear with me. Let's have a look here so I can find it. So the bike itself, brilliant. You can't knock the bike. Probably the bike to someone go buy something on the noisy side. You got to put up with that here nowadays. A lot of people have moved in the area, and as you can probably hear, that they all like to remove part of the baffles or all the baffles. I'm not sure what that's all about, but it's very loud here a lot of the time. I do find that annoying. But hey, each to their own. So yeah, so the bike, like I say, very comfortable on the whole. The long distance, Sally and myself, we struggle to sit in for, well, over an hour. Most bikes they do over an hour, especially smaller ones like a 250 like that. So the bigger bikes, like the 600 I used to have, the Kawasaki, you could ride that all day, and I used to just ride that down the south of Germany, right through Europe, and no trouble at all. But smaller the bikes, the harder the seats, the narrower the seats, although that one is quite wide, but it's not long enough by any means. But I've bought these, so they're gel pad, go onto the seats. So one for myself and one for Sally. We're hoping that's going to make some sort of difference, really. If I just show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, that wasn't quite right, was it? I mean, let me just show you this. So like I said, there's the seat cover. So, here's Old Faithful. Can't believe I've had this now. In November, it'll be 2 years. Start of November. 2 years since I've had this. So it's got one more year. Well, actually, it wasn't registered until, if you remember, it took ages to get it registered. I think it was March. Year before that. So it's got 3 years registration on it. So it doesn't have to be registered till March of 2027, which is good. Anyway, I digress. So mine's going to go on there like that. So it folds down on the sides. About there, and one for Sally. The problem being, although I'm losing a lot of weight, and I really am, but we're still a bit too big for such a narrow seat, for such a short seat, rather. I'm trying to get some extension. We shoved some padding down in there, and that's got wet and everything. Been there for, well, since we've had it, really. But I've taken the panniers off. They've had it. Those zips are ripped. They're not in great condition anymore. So what I want, the plan is, excuse the half you're tight on there, but the plan is to get metal panniers to go on the side, but they won't go there where the other ones were over the seat. I want to attach them here somehow, so there'll be brackets made to go into there, so they stick out a bit, and then yeah, they'll be further back, and they'll be high enough that they don't touch the exhaust, so they'll be connected to that. Of course, you've got the indicator there, so either I'll have to have the indicators taken off, rewired, and put on the panniers somehow. Not quite sure about that. I have to think about what we're going to do that. And eventually, another top box is going to have the square metal panniers, and ideally the same design box, although it's not all about design with us, it's more practicality of the thing, although I do like it looking good. So yeah, so the first thing I've got to do is where is it? So up in there, there's a nut. There you go. And the same on the other side. Then with a bit of luck, the seat should just lift off. So let me do that. So yeah, let's have a go. Oh, I've got the correct socket. Oh, what did I say that was there? Flick that over. Oh. That's one side. Yep, it's definitely the right one. So that's the two nuts out, or two bolts out. Let's see if that's going to lift off. Ah, there we go. So, with every face you can think of here, these horrible dirt fly things, they get everywhere. As you can see, there's one there. They literally are everywhere. Don't worry, it's going to get a good wash. You've got to be careful with these because there's a lot of electronics in this bike. So be very careful. And the batteries down in there, so that's easy enough to get to. You just take the side panel off there. So yeah, so if I just bear with me. So just going to grab the seat. Gonna give it a quick wipe down. Nice clean cloth. So there's your seat. Let me just bring you down to a decent height. So the theory being, it just slots on there, and then yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll go up to the table. Bear with me. I go up onto the terrace where there's a bit more light and a bit more room. Put you down there a second. Right down to the good height. So yeah, so there it is. Let me just tilt you a bit. Ah, there we go somewhere. So, as far as I can work out, that just goes around there and straps onto there like that. Can you see that? So there's the first one. And the same for Sally's in the second. Oops. So, that's mine on there, which doesn't leave a lot of room for Sally's. Now, like I say, the problem is the seat is just not long enough for the two of it. It's the design, but when I had the bracket made for the back for the top box, I had it made a few inches longer, so eventually we could get something to extend this seat at the rear. I'm baffled as to how. Surely it can be done. Somebody knows what they're doing, but it's finding the person to do it. So at the moment, let me just get the other one of those. There we go. So Sally's, in theory, will just slip on the same. So I'm just turn it upside down. It's the easier way of doing it. Probably should have done this the first time. Of course, me being me, I didn't. Slide that through there. That's the first one on. Nice and tight. Stop it slipping around on us. Oh, there it is. I thought there wasn't one on there then for a second. There we go. So, I'm hoping that's going to be okay. It's a bit of a squeeze, but there you go. It's on there. We're going to give it a bit of a trial run, maybe later. get it on there properly. I say everything I buy is not the best quality in the world. I do tend to do things on the cheap. But there you go. Alright, bear with me 1 second. Let's put you in the right place again. So I'm just going to go and grab the seat. There we go. Like I showed you before, there's the brackets. They're going to go back on there in theory. I think, do you know what? I'm going to give that a bit of a wash first, I think. Just pause it for now. I'll press the red button again. Right, so I've given that a bit of a wash. Just going to dry it down because there's some electronics under here. It really shouldn't be seeing any water, so just going to dry that off briefly. Don't even know what half of it is, to be honest. Some fuses and it's electrics, so they shouldn't be getting too wet. So I just dried that off. Just put my pipe down there a second. So let's put this back on. So in theory, that should, on either side, slot down in there. There you go, and I'll put the bolts in. And like I said before, the problem being is we've got this gap here. So Sally's posterior slips down into there, don't it, love? So we had cushions in there before, and some plastic over the top of that, and then another cushion to sit on again. The fact is that I have lost a lot of weight, so I'm not pushing Sally's back as far as I used to, but we're still too big for this seat. So again, I'm going to have to think of something that's going to take that space up. Not sure what to do. Don't think you can buy a seat for it, and I don't think you can get this seat extended. So it's a case of getting something with brackets on there, with sort of leather, same as that. They'll slide down into there and bracket there, and I'm hoping that I can get in town something made, and that should do the job, and then that would stop, obviously, back even further. And with a bit of luck, like I say, these are gel, so they do go down in. They're not the best quality. They weren't the most expensive. I could have paid double that easy. I can't remember what I paid, but I could have paid double it. But I think for now it'll do. I say before we go any distance, which we've got a trip the start of October, and we've got to go to Kauai for my visa stuff. So that's, was like the 1st or the 2nd or something. I landed on the 4th, didn't I? So the visa states that I need from the 4th. So we'll be going on the 2nd, probably, depending on what day of the week that is. So by then I've got to have had something made, or again, think of something to shove down in there, which doesn't look good. But it's a good 2.5 hour journey. So we need to be comfortable. Of course, I'm comfortable because I'm sat there, but for Sally there, you know, it's not ideal. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to put those bolts on and speak to you later.